Hello and welcome to the MVL channel. Welcome to this reading. This is a general reading for the week commencing the 16th of November. As I said, it's a general reading, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest for others or for your consideration as time passes and things change. As I went to get my Rider-Waite cards out of its pouch, I have another deck in there and I can't remember what the name of it is right now, but this card here, the Sacrifice card, was, and this has never happened to me before, was wanting to come out as well. Like it literally was coming with these cards. It's like, oh, what, tried to put it back in and went, actually no. So I knew sooner or later I'd start using these cards bit by bit more in the readings. And so this sort of is setting the scene, I guess, for the week and beyond for some people. Maybe what I say here will resonate for you in time, but it's kind of like the purpose of it is to give you a theme of the week, give you a heads up of like giving you clarity around the dynamics and then the influence that's coming from the universe in terms of how we can approach it, deal with it, and develop within ourselves. The qualities we can develop within ourselves to that are part of the lesson that the dynamics are teaching us, if that makes sense, how we're developing through our lives. And so this card, it's the Hangman, but in this deck it's called Sacrifice, and I can't help but it's like, what is it that you need to give up or let go of in order to step into the development of your future you, or the development of your future, or the new path that you're taking or looking to take? It's kind of like you want things to improve in your life, whether it's love life or your home life or your work life, your career. But it's kind of like, for us to get those changes, we have to change within first. So it starts with our mind, and then it continues on through to our habits, the things that we do consistently over time. That then sends out a ripple of a certain frequency that then either blocks or permits or enables our lives to unfold, if that makes sense. Opportunities or things to come forth. Because if we don't change, nothing can change, right? Certainly environments can change around us, but typically we attract dynamics or people or situations that are there to teach us a lesson, or to who vibrate at our same frequency, because like attracts like, or sometimes like attracts opposites, if that makes sense. And it's through the interaction with that opposite energy, it could be just that friend you just can't get along with, or family member or workmate or whatever, where they present it as a challenge to you because they're not always agreeable with you or whatever. So in order to get the changes we want to see in life moving forward, we have to change the way we think, our perspective, our perception of things, how we feel then changes, and then our habits change. The way we go about certain things. It might be the same habits, but the way we do them, or the way we approach it, or when we do it, that kind of thing. When those things start to shift and change for the better, life starts working better for us, and then the opportunities come as they're meant to from the universe, for us to step in the direction we want to step in. So what is it that you need to have a think and feel about letting go of or giving up? Whether it's a habit you need to give up that's holding you back, or whether it's a certain mindset. I can't help but think it's a mindset. Things that have been are playing heavily on your mind for some time, and it's time to, as I've said in previous readings, set them down and say, well, I learnt what I needed to learn from that, and so I'm letting go of letting it take up too much of my headspace. The hangman typically represents a change in perspective as well, but I'm trying to read this in terms of the word sacrifice. So we have to give certain things up. We have to be what's the word? We have to change within ourselves in the way that we're thinking, feeling, or doing things before our lives can change around us. Okay? Someone might be coming through with some kind of communication or message in the coming week. There might be an opportunity that presents through this communication, or it could be two stages of communication. Like if it's text messages or phone calls, it could happen twice. But it seems like this communication is almost opening a gateway to whatever's next for you. But there's a lot of growth in terms of your mentality, the way that you are thinking about things. So it does represent change, but it is about sacrifice. It's kind of like, see the berries here, it's like the fruits of your labour, the fruits that bear themselves for where you're at today. But it's kind of like you need to what am I feeling? It's kind of like wanting better than that. And so we have to forego some of the pleasures that we're currently receiving, if that makes sense, in order to invest our energy into a new way of thinking and new habits that then open us up to that higher frequency that brings in the higher living that we want, if that makes sense. But it'll be different for everyone, so that's why I'm being non-specific here. But certainly it will become clearer to you this week what it is that is weighing you down, tiring you out, just not serving you anymore, that kind of thing. What do I need to stop doing, or stop thinking about, or stop whatever, or give up, let go of, in order for me to see the path ahead, basically, and forge a path for myself. The feeling that I get is it's like there's something unique about this path forward that you're wanting to go down. It's either unique to you, as in you've never explored it before, or it's completely unique, like you haven't heard of anyone else doing it this way, or walking this way, or going in this direction. It's an unpaved field, so you have you can forge your own path through there in any direction, basically. Okay, but I do feel like there have been, or there will be this week, some sort of like epiphanies that show you growth within yourself and within the way you're thinking. Or I'm not thinking so much about that anymore. I'm not spending as much headspace on this anymore. I'm becoming freer within myself to, I have more headspace available to put my thoughts and my energies into stuff that I actually enjoy, things that I actually want to do, or a direction I actually want to take. But I'll have to, you know, sometimes it can be that you spend a certain amount of energy or time towards, you know, developing the benefits of the lifestyle you currently have. And it's kind of like you have to, as I said earlier, you have to sort of forego some of those benefits. Oh, I'm going to put, even though this gives me this amount of money, for example, or this amount of whatever, or time with these people, or whatever the benefits are of whatever you're doing today, I need to put some of the effort that I would normally put in that direction into this new direction, whether it's study or research or exercise or whatever it is, spiritual development, whatever it is. And so I'm taking a little bit from here and I'm putting it towards where I want to go. Yeah. Otherwise, I could just keep doing what I'm doing and nothing will change unless I get, you know, environmental things change, and then that changes the course. You know, the universe brings sudden unexpected change to me because I haven't been developing myself and growing in a certain way. Does that make sense? But I do feel there's a lot of growth or understanding or clarity or opportunity that's going to come from some form of communication from someone else unexpectedly. So I'm going to put that there for the moment, and I'll see if anything else comes through around that. But that's the general theme. And of course, we're still in Scorpio season, so if you haven't watched the Scorpio season general reading, please go into my channel and watch that, because the reading I did the week following that really backed it up, what I've been saying. So, and then we'll see what comes out today. How many more, Spirit? 2 and 3. Thank you, Spirit. So we have the Hermit, we have the World, we have the Fool, the High Priestess, the Wheel of Fortune, the Moon, the Emperor, Death, the Magician, and the Tower. Ooh, we'll be pulling out more cards on that. So, all right. And then underneath we have Judgment. So, it seems the energy that you're currently sitting in is that of the Hermit. So you're keeping to yourself. I feel like it's, what I'm getting through is keeping your ideas to yourself about your future plans. You're not sort of, once upon a time you would have gotten excited or had like an epiphany or a brilliant idea, or would have come to your mind, and you would have gotten so excited about it that you would have gone to everyone around you and said, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, it occurred to me, I can do it this way now, I'm going to do it, da da da. And when you're doing that, you're basically putting holes in your bucket. Instead of containing that thought and that energy for that project within the bucket and saying, well, I know what I'm going to do with this energy, I know where I'm going to put my effort because this is what I'm going to do. Every time you tell somebody else about it, you're depleting that energy. You're putting holes in the bucket. So then you'll find it actually becomes more difficult for you one way or another to actually implement the changes needed in order to achieve what you're trying to achieve. And so I feel like you're keeping it to yourself, you're keeping it on the down low in terms of what your future plans are, and your changes in thought and perception around what your issues have been. What your issues have been. in the past. So if you've had sudden clarity or epiphany around things that have been bothering you, or a problem you've been trying to work out or solve, you have worked it out, or you're going to this week get clarity around that, but it's going to be through things that you do. But you're keeping your internal, spiritual and mental changes to yourself. You're much more private these days about your next move, put it that way. Less expressive about how you feel about things too. You're taking steps quietly. And so the influence that's coming through from spirit, from the universe, when I say the influence, it's what's being encouraged in this instance is for you to manage yourself in a way where you're not putting too much energy out into other people or other things, to contain, which I've just said it with the bucket, right? Contain some of your energy for yourself, and make sure that for some reason you're saying, make sure your bed is made before you go making anybody else's bed. Okay, so I may be talking to people who have been in the past overly concerned with helping other people, or with other people's problems or whatever. And a big thing about that is I get the word distraction. So perhaps you used your obligations, or they weren't obligations, but you make them an obligation for yourself because you dedicate yourself to other causes or people or situations, and then you hold yourself to that promise that you made within yourself to do it. And so you're taking energy elsewhere and doing stuff for other things or other people, and not focusing enough on what you need to do for yourself, right? And so those other things, a subconscious motivation for overcommitting to other things or other people, or overgiving, is that we're distracting ourselves from doing what we need to do for ourselves. I got a message earlier, and I'm getting it again now, around the fear of actually manifesting beautiful, positive change towards things that you know you deserve or have earned or are worthy of. Sorry, my throat just closed up then. I had to sip some water. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. So, the advice, I don't want to use the word advice, the influence coming from the universe is for you to become more self-focused. And that doesn't mean selfish to the point of at someone else's expense. It's not about grabbing all you can grab for yourself and It's not about that at all, but it's actually about where do you place your energy in this instance. So how much of it is going out for other things, and how much of it are you keeping to yourself so that you can get done what you need to do for yourself? I think that make sure your own bed's made before you go making anybody else's bed is a perfect thing. It's also the World card, so it is about the ending of a cycle. So you've had, or will have this week, receive more clarity, or change in perspective, or change in how you feel around things that have been on your mind, and things are coming to that cycle, like this universe is saying, let that cycle come to an end. In terms of the things that you used to place your energies into, now you can focus on yourself and still be connected with people and help whenever, but you do your stuff first. Why are you going mowing someone else's lawn before you've mown your own? And I'm not talking about cutting the grass. Some people will understand what I mean by that. If you don't worry about it. I'm just being funny. And if you do that, adopt that principle and put it into action, you'll then be in a position where you are able to actually make some moves for yourself. You'll actually be able to set other people's stuff aside. What I keep getting is, it's like there was no boundary between you and the needs of others. You never considered your needs, so you just gave and gave and gave energy outward. What are you trying to say, Spirit? And you did that because, for various reasons, but one of the main reasons was because of that lack of boundaries, because you couldn't decipher between their needs and your own. And you did it because that's just what I do. That's just who I am. And if you've watched my other readings, there was one about where the heart chakra is overactive. And so it outshines all the other chakras, which means you if you're like that, you will self-sacrifice for others. You will do things for the betterment of others and not consider your own needs. You will give and not look to receive, or not be receptive. And so that cycle's all coming to an end. They're saying put it to an end. Okay? Maybe that cycle is what we're having to give up in order to do things differently, in order to get better results for ourselves. Okay? This is about taking a leap of faith, taking a leap forward, and it is 100% for yourself, for your own betterment, for your own good, for your own advantage, your own opportunity, right? Taking advantage of an opportunity. You see, or maybe you can't see an opportunity, but I'm going in this direction, which is what I was talking about with the field. And you carve out your own opportunity just by putting one foot in front of the other, having full faith with the divine and trust in yourself that whatever comes across your path, or whatever you come across along the way, you can turn lemons into lemonade. Not that there's anything wrong with lemons, but you can make it work for you. Okay? And it's really about prioritizing yourself and your needs and the direction that you want to go in. Distant past, you've needed to make some decisions for yourself. There might have been a court case situation, or some kind of new agreement or legal document that's been entered into. It could be a new job, or it could be a contract you've made with yourself. So there was a need, you saw a need to make a deal with yourself to dedicate your energies into something new or something different, or into yourself for a change. That's something different if you're an overgiver. But some intuitive decisions were made, and some kind of agreement or contract was made, whether it's with yourself or with others, or whatever. I feel like at the time you didn't have the full, you didn't have all the details, and so as time's passed by, you have observed a lot in the behaviours of others and in the environment around you, and you've been able to learn how to get the best out of the situations around you, if that makes sense. Because more recently we've got the Wheel of Fortune, and so things starting to turn in your direction, and I think that's happened because of the decisions that you made. It's kind of like you made the decisions in the dark with what limited knowledge you had, or whatever the burden was on you at the time. It stopped you from having clarity around a full picture, but it really didn't matter. It was that step towards yourself that you've made, that dedication towards yourself that you've made, that brings you to a place now where you've been able to take full advantage of, make things work for you, basically. Make things work for you, which is in line with this path forward, what we've been talking about. So the influence that's coming is for you to gain more perspective and more clarity around your path forward by doing your emotional bookkeeping. So they're kind of saying, as much as you're being encouraged to take a leap forward and do what you need to do for yourself, like dedicate your time and energy mainly to yourself, so you can change your life. While you're doing that, also don't forget about your emotional self, because if you've been spending a lot of time to yourself or keeping your thoughts and feelings to yourself, sometimes it can create like a bottleneck. So they're saying, as you start doing things, operating in a way that's more beneficial for you, don't forget the shadow side. Don't forget the emotions that need to be processed along the way. Because as things have gotten clearer, it's kind of like, oh, I didn't know, or I didn't know this was happening at the time, or I've had to accept this about the situation or about this person, but you hadn't actually. You saw it intuitively, you know it intuitively, you've accepted it in your mind, but you haven't processed the emotions associated with it. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for whoever that was for. Don't forget about processing your emotions. And that means allowing yourself to feel them and acknowledge them. Don't be bottling stuff up. Rightio. So your attitude is awesome, because this is very much in acknowledgement, the Emperor, very much in acknowledgement of the journey that you've had to endure, the challenges of the past that you have had to work through, and almost insurmountable challenges that you have gotten yourself through, the mountains literally that you've had to climb in order to get to this position of power and strength within yourself. And you've strengthened your knowledge of the world through the experiences that you've had, and you've strengthened your knowledge and relationship with yourself. And so that puts you in a great stead to be able to do what we're talking about here. So that is awesome. I'm very happy for you. I know it wasn't fun to get there, but you will reap the rewards. You're in the dynamics within your life. If I was to take a snapshot of your life, the role that you're playing within it is you are the bringer of change. You are headed, you can see passion before you, like what you're passionate about, you now have your eyes set on. So it suggests to me that you're kind of getting a good glimpse now of what it is that you want to put your energy towards, or where you want to head. And it's very much a spiritual path for you. It's an enlightened path. Because it feeds your soul. There's something about the decisions and changes that you're making that are feeding your soul. And that's part of the reward that we reap from going through what we've been through in order to get to the Emperor position. Okay, and that again feeds into how you're being encouraged to develop. So that is absolutely wonderful. You're no longer really too concerned about what other people think about what you're doing or how you're living or what the decisions you're making. You just know you need to make these changes for yourself. And there's something in the black flag. Oh, so it may not be clear to others. You're flying a flag that represents like mysticism. So you're keeping an element of mysticism about yourself, which is awesome. That's what we're talking about with the Hermit earlier. So you're not shy. You're not riding your flag, flying your flag, whatever the right words are, with all the colours showing exactly, like showing everybody exactly how you think or how you feel or how you anything. You're not giving anything away. You're doing what you need to do for yourself, and you're keeping it to yourself. So people don't know what you're doing until you make a decision to do it, until they see you doing it. So that is awesome as well. And then we said we'd talk about this. the magician in the position of your hopes and fears, your hidden hopes and fears. So you're wanting to manifest great things for yourself. You're wanting to use all of the elements and all of the blessings you have and resources you have available to you to manifest a better life, whether it's a better career, a better love life, better whatever, home life, whatever the situation is, just generally. And you are well and truly committed to being this way for the rest of your life. For the changes that you've gone through and what you've had to do for yourself to get to this place, you are like, it's like you've tapped into the fountain of youth. You've tapped into a never-ending, bottomless resource within yourself of strength, of courage, and of foresight and vision and enthusiasm to create the life that you want. And so the flip side of that, because this position is about your hidden desires and fears, the reason desires and fears go hand in hand is because, and this was occurring to me earlier today as well, so obviously Spirit's been in my ear all morning. They were saying that sometimes you envisage what you really want moving forward. Oh, wouldn't it be great if I had that new job? If I had a new job that gave me lots of money, that then I could do all these things with the money. My life would change. Or, that was career. It could be, doing things different within my love life or making decisions around my love life that enable me to, free me up or put me in a position with a certain person who that spending time with them nourishes my soul, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what aspect of your life it is. When we try to manifest the future that we want, or an event that we want to take place, or where we see ourselves in the future, where we'd like to be, the dream that we have for ourselves, the ego is comfortable with the now and what is now and wants to keep us safe. It doesn't like change. So, when we get excited about something new, something different, a new way of living, a new set of circumstances around us, as exciting as that can be, it can create cognitive stress. It can stress our brains out a bit because there's fear attached to having that. What's going to need to change in order for me to be in that energy where I can have that life? What am I going to need to give up within myself or around myself in order to be in the frequency that allows that new life or that event to take place, that thing that I'm excited about? What am I going to have to change within myself or my habits or my environment, or the way that I do things, the way that where I place my energies? What's going to have to change in order for me to have what I want? And that's normally a very unconscious thought, actually. So it causes stress within us. So as much as we get excited about what we want to create and change into and become, we get scared. There's fear attached to that. And so they're saying one step at a time. You've just come out of the troubled waters, a period of confusion or feeling out of your depth or overwhelmed. You're on dry land now. Just one step at a time. Tidy up loose ends. Tidy up loose ends. Do your emotional bookkeeping. Do those things for yourself that help to clear away the cobwebs or clear away the trauma of the past, or be reflective and learn the lessons that you needed to learn from those experiences. Whatever it is that you need to weigh up or reflect upon, do that, and also strengthen your trust in the divine and trust in yourself, that everything's going to work out just fine. And then when you're ready, you'll take your steps forward. There's no rush here. Okay? Your immediate advice, or the immediate influence upon you, which presents itself as an opportunity for your growth, is for you to start enjoying your life more. To start feeding your soul and start enjoying your life more. And letting those influences and people, that you've always overgiven to or been affected by or whatever, let them be there, and you do what you need to do for yourself. Okay? There's no chariot here. There's nothing suggesting to get on your horse and ride and run, like get out of here. It's not about that. You're making a lot of changes for yourself and you're headed in the right directions and keeping your goals to yourself. Yeah, that's great. And you're saying enjoy yourself, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and let things unfold. And certainly don't make your forward movement the be all and end all, because you need to process your emotions along the way. If you don't do that, you're going to always feel like it's like trying to drive your car with the handbrake on. Like you're just not getting forward. Something's holding you back, and it's your emotional stuff that you haven't processed, haven't released. Okay? And so, all things remaining and taking into account your own willpower, your own what's it called? Freedom of will, your own will, conducting your own life as you choose. We've got the Tower there as the kind of where it's all sort of leading to, and so it's a change of perspective. It is having the wool taken from your eyes. It's kind of the feeling that I'm getting is when you start making your moves for yourself, and you're doing it in a really balanced way because you're doing your emotional bookkeeping along the way. And that can be, there's many things you can do for self-care, like getting in the bath and just having reflective time. It doesn't have to happen in a bath, but it is better in water. Spending time in nature, looking up at the moon or the stars at night, or just observing the clouds even. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, that just puts you into a reflective state so that you can allow some time and space within your mind to start observing the emotions and thoughts, or the thoughts to pass through your mind about people, events, whatever that have happened in the past. And then you allow yourself to feel the associated emotions without intellectually dissecting things. Okay? If you're doing things in a balanced way, and you are starting to step in the right direction for yourself, that you're going to see behaviours in other people that may surprise you, yeah, or may shock you, for better or for worse. So you might see it as a bad thing, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because it actually serves you. Or you might see it as a good thing, in that you can finally see, you'll finally understand maybe what's been holding you back, what all the drama's been about on the periphery of your life, why there's in the past been difficulty around moving forward, or you're doing anything for yourself, what's been holding you back all that time, which is the cycle that we're putting to an end, right? I feel like there will be clarity will come to you around why this cycle has to end. And it may involve someone or people around you, or it could be your work environment, whereby you can suddenly see things clearly for what they are. And that's why this process has come forward in your life, for you to really start manifesting and feeling like before anybody else's lawn gets cut or anybody else's bed gets made, I put my attention to myself, to cutting my own lawn for myself and making my own bed for myself. It doesn't mean if you have gardeners or whatever the situation is, or people that make your bed, that's fine. You get the vibe, right? Yeah. So there might be some expressions from other people, or you might find yourself having to deal with other people in a very different way to what you normally do, because you've got the judgment card here, and as if you've seen any of my readings, whenever the judgment card comes out and the devil comes out, it's you see the way I just said that? I'll get to that in a sec. So it's all about two different ways of communicating. So up until now, you've been very diplomatic. You don't put anyone on a spot. You don't like confrontation. You know, that's how you've always kind of been operating. Whereas these days, you're much more forward about letting people know what you think of their behaviour, as an example. So you're keeping your own plans and goals and aspirations to yourself, and you're what's it called when you're doing things on the down low. So you're quiet about what your plans are and what you're doing, and people will see the end results when it's happening. But in terms of you being so peaceful and diplomatic, the person that everybody loves, you're going to show people another side of you if they in any way, shape or form, energetically or otherwise, try to wedge themselves between you and your relationship with yourself, you and what you're dedicated to do for yourself. Okay, so it's kind of like, now I know where I'm going, I know what I have to do, and then someone that we're very familiar with steps in and says, hey, are you forgetting about your responsibilities? Are you forgetting that we require you to do ABC because that's what you've always done? But I never actually made an agreement. I've always done that to help the business, or I've always done that to help the family or whatever, but I am not contractually obliged to do those things. It's what I took on because of my generous nature. I'm now choosing to let somebody else pick up that slack because I need to focus on what I need to focus on for myself. And they have a major problem with it. You're happy to be quite direct in your communication about what you'll tolerate moving forward and what you won't, and that you won't be held back. And you'll only maybe need to do it once to one person or whatever, to stand your ground and say what's what for you, what you will and won't do, and others will observe that and go, oh, I better not get in his way or her way. Yeah. And to them, it's going to look like, this is what I said earlier, I said the judgment card or the devil turns up. The devil's going to turn up. They're going to see, and I don't mean it in the literal sense of your evil side. I mean it in terms of they think you're an angel right now, but it also means that they think you're a pushover. Not calling this angel a pushover, but you're very amiable, don't like confrontation. You like to do things in the nice way. But sometimes we've set ourselves up to fail because we're not doing things in a manner that supports us and our movement forwards. And so the people that are benefiting from us operating that way can get in between us and our movement forwards because they still expect us to be a certain way and to be overgiving. And we're closing that cycle out. So they're going to see the devil in you. The devil's going to come forward because it's that you're going to speak way more directly and show them what you're not happy with in terms of their behaviour. If they're crossing the line, crossing a boundary, disrespecting you, holding you to an obligation that is not your obligation, whatever the situation is, that you're going to speak up for yourself. And you have the ability to do that because you You are the emperor. You've been through it, and you know what you've had to endure in order to have this strength and conviction with yourself that you've had enough, and you're going to do what you need to do for yourself. And so you have no problem, you will in future have no problem with actually telling someone when they've crossed the boundary to step back. Okay? So sacrificing old parts of ourselves, sacrificing the old us, the old you, in order to give birth to new projects, in order to live life in a way that nourishes our souls, that makes us happy. And it doesn't mean we never do anything for anybody else. It's not about that. We still do that stuff, but we're making our own bed first. We're making sure we have nourishment and sustenance and hydration and comfort and whatever. Everything's done within my house first before I head out to help anybody else. I don't do that at my expense, at the expense of what I need to get done for myself. All right? I'm not going to starve and feed others while I'm starving. Okay? So I hope that all makes sense. I do, this is a general reading, so take what resonates. I do personal readings, so there's an email address for that in the description box below. Feel free to get in contact. Please share, like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever the words are. And feel free to comment on how this resonates for you. And I hope you have a great week. And remember, this process can go on longer than a week, but I'm just giving it a weekly time frame because I wanted to show you how you're being influenced to develop. Okay, so have a great day, have a great week. All the best.